I'll go. I'll hear what you've got to say about that. Yep.
Paul VI was the Pope who brought the council to its conclusion. He was a much more of a political operative at the institutional level than John the 23rd had been. Both John the 23rd was no mean political operator, but Paul VI had much more of an institutional sense of things. Even years before with the YCW, when they had a big congress in Rome of the youth before the council, well before the council.
57.
That'd be under Pius XII.
The YCW World Council in Rome 57.
And Keegan had a lot of responsibility for the organising of that. And Montini and Keegan got to know each other then really well. And there was also a period when they were drawing up what became, I suppose, the constitutions of the YCW. I'm not sure what the technical language they used. But Keegan had a lot of dealings with with Montini at that stage. So they knew each other pretty well before the council. Well, by the time of between the second and the third sessions of the council, I think it was, it might have been between the third and the fourth sessions, I'm not sure now. But at any rate, Pat had been down in Rome for various meetings, and on the way back he was at a cocktail party in Geneva, and he heard some conversations in the background that didn't click very much. The next night he was at a similar function in Paris, and again something in the back of conversations came together. When he went to bed that night, the two conversations met, and he realised that somebody was, or a group, were trying to control how the future lay structures of the church would be post-Vatican II. So he got out of bed, got the night train down to Rome, and when he got to Rome he booked into that pub, Columbus I think it's called, in the Via del Conciliazione, where he always stayed, and then contacted the Vatican and said he wanted to see the Pope urgently, and so he was asked to come over that afternoon. When he went in, he said to Paul VI, "Do you have a document on this issue of the future of the lay structure of the Church post-Vatican II on your table?" And Paul VI said, "Oh yes, so-and-so and so-and-so brought it to me." Now they were lay auditors. And I think it's a pretty good document, Pat. And Pat said, "You know, I'm supposed to be chairing the co-pastoral committee. I knew nothing about that. That was not prepared by the committee or in consultation with the committee." And this is, I'm repeating what Pat told me.
Yeah.
So you can accuse me of hearsay, but this is, I learned to trust a lot of Pat's stuff. I said, the Pope said to him, "If there's one thing I want to do to go down in history as the Pope of the layman, and I can't even trust what I thought were my own laity." And Pat said, "I don't give a damn how you go down in history, but act on that document and I won't have a thing to do with the church again." Doesn't mean I won't go to Mass. My eternal salvation's too important for me to go that road, but I certainly will not lift a finger to help the church in any way. And have you heard this story?
No, but it's very interesting because I know there was a lot of problems in trying to work out the structure, but it's very hard to work out who's behind what and everything like that. And as I said, I know that Pat was unhappy with a lot of what was happening. I saw a letter that he wrote at the end of I saw this years ago before I was doing this research. I have to go and find it again. It's in the OYCW. It was towards the end of the council, and he was very critical about the sort of things that were happening, and it's almost certainly this sort of thing you're talking about.
Yeah, well, what happened, he said that to and he walked out and slammed the door of the Pope's study in his face.
Yeah. Well, this is amazing anyway, to learn how kind of close these guys, not only Pat but also like you said, Segranus and the others, they actually were to Paul VI.
Yeah.
It's kind of impressive, isn't it? You know.
I know it was, and like Segranus, as I said, was a beautifully warm human being. He would be one of the people I really liked in the council. But he, at any rate, Pat was then ringing me at college. You know, for God's sake, get down here! I've got to talk to you. I think he just needed always somebody that he could use as a wall against, where he could throw his feelings and his emotions, his thoughts. At any rate, when I got down there, Pat had been trying to write a letter of apology to the Pope, and he had crumpled up pieces of paper all over the room. Because you don't slam the door in the face of the Pope.
Not every day, that's for sure, yeah.
And there was a knock on the door, and it was a courier from the Vatican with a written letter from the Pope apologising to Pat for having provoked what had happened the day before, and please come and see me this afternoon.
Wow.
And when Pat did see him that afternoon, he told me that the poor Pope picked up this document off his desk and ripped it up and put it into his wastepaper basket. He said, I've got to work out whom I trust and whom I don't trust.
Okay.
Write your own idea of what should be the future.
Very interesting. Yeah.
So that's all behind the fact of the Pope of the Laity, you know?
Yeah, fantastic.
And the Pope of Cardi.
Well, let's stop on that point.
Stop there.